It's getting on for crazy squirrel time, y'all. Like, we go through this cemetery every day to get to school, and there's an ass load of squirrels in here, and it's normally fine, okay? Like, 11 and a half months out of the year, we cohabitate with the squirrels, fine, that's fine. They do their business, we do our business, it's fine. Okay, but then roughly about this time every year, for like 2 weeks, we can't live together. Like, I'll be cycling down, or Emma will be cycling down, and then just a squirrel come out of nowhere like a crazed maniac for nuts. They just run across without thinking. Like, they'll tank you in a minute, you know, like you slam on your brakes, slide on the road, crash. And like, they don't even care. They're like, fuck you, I need nuts. It's a wild time, man. Look at this guy. He doesn't have anything on his mind except nuts. He's just gonna bolt. Hello everyone, I'm Heather. It is the 21st day of Shorty September, and we're on our 22nd book, because we're not fucking killing it, okay? Today's book is Richard Brottigan, So the Wind Won't Blow It All Away. When I picked this book up, I looked at the back and I thought it was going to be a certain way, okay? So, premise, basically, a guy or a kid shoots his best friend dead on accident, and then has to deal with the trauma of that, okay? And for me, I feel like shooting and trauma are going to be like the most significant things here, and are going to like take up the most prominent space in the book. But it hasn't really been like that at all. Like, the shooting hasn't even happened yet. I think we're just building up. Also, not a lot of things have happened in relation to it. Instead, it's sort of giving Sandlot. You know that movie in the 90s? It was about this kid growing up in the 60s, like in a neighborhood with like a sort of neighborhood baseball team, and then he like uses a ball that his dad got signed by Babe Ruth, and then he's got to get it back from this like huge dog behind a fence. Did you see that movie? Like, I loved that movie as a kid, so I'm not like bashing this. I enjoyed it. But you know what I would expect? It's basically that, but instead of a guy in the 90s looking back on his 60s childhood playing baseball, it's a guy in the 80s looking back on his 40s childhood, randomly meeting people and being poor and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, his family and him sitting around looking at each other after dinner because their radio broke. Or him sort of collecting bottles off the local drunk so that he can turn them in for change. Or him sort of watching this couple take the couch out of their house and put it on the side of a lake so that they can sit on their couch and fish. Or him trading a kid a mattress for a gun. You know, things like this. Like, that seem, I mean, the gun thing is obviously relevant, but the rest of it is pretty like irrelevant in regards to the actual shooting or the subsequent trauma. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know how I feel. I'm not hating it though, but I'm also, I don't know if I'm loving it. Like, the writing is good, the writing is lovely, and maybe that's a thing, because loads of people said Richard Brottigan, he's the poo, so take a big whiff. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, awesome. And to be fair, I do really like his writing, so maybe, one, I shouldn't have had stupid expectations about the book, which are now sort of like, you know, ruining it a bit. And two, maybe I should try one of his other books. I think there's like 7 of them. Maybe this one was just maybe a slow burn, a bit of like a boring one for me. Also, number 3, I'm not at the end yet, so maybe it picks up right at the end. Which would, you know, be really cool, actually, if it was like, you know, slow, whimsical, wholesome childhood, and then kabam! Really fucked up shit. So I mean, so we'll see right now. Okay, I do really enjoy Richard Brottigan's writing style, and I think I'm going to read something else by him, because there's like this section where this kid now is obsessed with hamburgers, right? Because he was going to buy a hamburger, but then bought bullets instead. He was like, bullets or a hamburger, and he bought bullets. And obviously the bullets led to the shooting, which he regrets. So he's now obsessed with hamburgers. He keeps sort of like researching hamburgers and finding out things to do about hamburgers, and like interviewing chefs for like a fake magazine about hamburgers. And there's like a section where he's talking to a chef and he's like, what was your favorite hamburger you ever made? And the chef is like, I don't know. And then the kid's like, how many hamburgers is the most hamburgers you've ever made? And the chef is like, what magazine do you work for? And he's like, it's a very reputable magazine. What would you say is the best kind of hamburger? And I really enjoyed that scene, like, you know, playing out. So this book itself, I'm not loving it, but just I can definitely tell it's just not the Richard Brautigan for me, and I need to try another one because I fully enjoy his writing style. Okay, I finished it, and I'm gonna go with 3 stars because I found it to be a bit boring, but I've been looking up other Richard Brautigan books, and I think it won't be the case if I try another one, right? Okay, so I'm looking up now. Anyone who's like a Richard Brautigan fan, okay, like talk to me, hear me out on this. A Confederate general from Big Sur. How do we feel about that one? Is that one gonna be... It seems sort of more like wild. Do you know what I mean? Like sort of, I don't know, sort of 60s and weird. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd be more into it. Also, trout fishing in America, I think maybe also will work. But this other one, this Confederate general from Big Sur, I'm wondering if that's gonna be more my style. And I might try to go to the bookstore in a bit and see if I can find it, or like have a browse of other Brautigan ones, because I'm not willing to give up. I think that this one just wasn't speaking to me particularly. Do you know what I mean? So I did sort of blow through that one really quickly. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Like, I mean, it is quite a quick read, quick and easy sort of read. Also, I did start it last night, and it is small, but like it's not even lunchtime. I haven't even had lunch yet. I don't know how I've done that, but I definitely need a book to read for lunch, so I think I'm gonna jump on to tomorrow's book and see how far we get. What do you reckon? Okay, so tomorrow's book is Claire Keegan, Small Things Like These. I am counting this as a Shorty Shorts prompt. It was not written in the 80s, but it takes place in the 80s, and I feel like that is an acceptable cheat. So this one was always roughly on my Shorty September plan, but since the weekend it has sparked my interest anew, because while we were in Devon in our caravan, the remote control on our TV didn't work, and we had to just basically watch whatever channel was on. We couldn't change the channel, so we were just like randomly watching it, and this show came on called A Woman in the Wall. Like, I think it's still coming out. Like, the episodes that have been released aren't all of the season, like it's still sort of releasing shows, but we just randomly watched one in the middle, like separate from anything came before or after. So I'm gonna have to look it up and see if I can watch the other ones and sort of like when the next episodes air. But it's super interesting, and it's related to things in this book. It takes place in Ireland, so the show, first of all, okay, takes place in Ireland, and it's all these women who are like bringing suit against the church because they were in mother and baby homes in like the 80s. So they were sort of teenagers, they were pregnant teenagers, their parents shipped them off to have their babies or whatever, and they were having their babies and then working in the laundry, so basically sort of slave labor, indentured sort of servitude, and their babies often died, but then they found out in the show that they weren't dying, they were being sold basically to other families, like adopted out, but for large sums of money that were sort of said to be donations to the church. Do you know what I mean? And this includes those same sort of like Magdalene laundries, those same like mother and baby homes where loads of the babies died and were sort of buried in just like random unmarked graves in fields, you know? So this is super interesting now. Like, I want to watch the show and I want to read the book, and I'm super interested by this thing. Okay, my Abominable Book Box has come in the mail. I'm gonna open it now because I really want to know what's inside it. I only have 5 minutes before I have to go, so I gotta make it quick. But afterwards, I'm gonna have to pack it all the way back up and make it look like how I opened it, because Alan gets really pissed off at me when I open it without it. So we'll try to put it back together basically as it came. Okay, so ooh, I'm so excited! I just glimpsed it now. Okay, so we get one secret like mystery used book, and then usually 2 new ones, and I've just seen this one now, which I'm super excited about because I was actually going to buy this and then didn't. Camp Damascus, which I think is like YA, maybe? Yeah, I think this one is a girl like possessed by demons or something at camp. Christian camp? Pray the Gay Away camp. Oh no. Love is real. Demons are real. Kill the demons. Terrifying, darkly funny, and engagingly humane. I love it. Okay, so this one I've not heard of before, but it's always the ones I've not heard of before that the Abominable Book Box people think I should read that turn out to be the best ones. So that's probably going to be brilliant. Ronald Malfi, They Lurk. 5 novellas. Can I count it as 5 books then in my Goodreads? Ooh, a private detective. Teenagers disappear. Otherworldly forces at work. And then the insanity started. Oh, this one's gonna be good. I'm excited. It is literally 5 different stories, like 5 different novellas. So Skull Valley, The Separation, The Stranger, After the Fade, Fierce. They're all like completely different stories, which is super awesome. Okay, there's also this thing. Some sort of envelope. What? 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 It's an iron-on patch. It's massive. Look how big it is. I don't even know what I'd put that on, like a bag or something. I don't know. But look at that. Got your like your horror dudes. Your main horror dudes here. Okay, Tasty Mates. Peaches and cream flavor. I think this is like gummies or something. Yeah. Our normal sort of like coffee and like tea sachets. I can't open it or Anna will know I've done it. So this, woo! Love is Real, Chuck Tingle. So this is like the author signing the book. Like instead of signing the book, they sign this and then you like stick it in the cover of the book like that. Oh, I love it. When did we came? Oh, fuck, no. Oh, this guy is my nightmare fuel. Like, loads of people have read this book now and said, oh, no, it's really good. Like, it's not really super horror-y, you know, it's like lovely. What? This guy? No, no, mate. Pure nightmare fuel. That's it. I gotta sort of like disassemble everything and stick it all back in. Can't open this one because Alan will know that I've done it, but I'll let you know what it is later. Sorted. Good as new. Okay, like I don't want to make y'all feel weird or nothing about my superhuman Shorty September abilities, but I'd just like to say that I just finished this book. What? What? She's on fire. Oh, she's killing it. Oh, it's ridiculous. Okay, like obviously though these are like really small books, obviously. The other one as well, and I started yesterday, but like to be fair, these aren't any smaller than the other books I've been reading for Shorty September, and all the other days really have been quite a struggle sometimes to get them done. So I don't know what it is today. I think, to be honest, I've had the house basically to myself all of today and yesterday because my husband's away for work and I want to spend at school obviously, and I think like my family, my God, takes up so much of my time and attention. So like when I'm just left on my own in the house to do nothing, I'm just like blowing through my stacks, blowing through them. Okay, it's ridiculous. I think I have sort of uncovered the secret though for some of those people that read like 300 books a year. Like previously I was like, how do you do that? My God. But now I get it. Like they just live alone. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna go with 4 stars on this one. I really enjoyed it. Obviously it's horrific, the subject matter. About these Magdalene laundries and these babies and these mothers treated horrifically in these sort of convent like workhouses basically. But this author is so good, Claire Keegan. I'm gonna look up other things she writes. I think she writes one called Foster or something that's got a lot of praise. Yeah, Foster. I might read that next actually. But she writes beautifully and she writes really sort of insightfully about sort of this kind of community, how the nuns that run these camps, or that did, I think they ended in like the 90s or whatever still, which was late, they're so prominent in the community. They have so much power over, you know, the people around them in the community, sort of socially, you know, religiously, also like financially in the community. So the main guy in this, he's a merchant and he does business with the convent, and it becomes clear that, you know, the nuns would have something to say about that and they would be able to sort of affect his ability to do business with them and with the rest of people in the community. It's also sort of suggested quite subtly that his children who go to the local sort of private school or sort of like the church school maybe wouldn't be able to find places for them anymore at the school, things like that, and how the community around sort of basically knows what's going on and just sit on it, either willfully or silent about it, and shut other people down actively, or just sort of turn away and don't talk about it and don't do anything about it. And like the main character, he brought it up with his wife. Like he saw poor treatment of the girls in the convent, and he brought it up with his wife, and his wife, knowing the danger that speaking out against it and even knowing exactly what goes on there and voicing it out loud would be to their family, she sort of shuts him down quite violently. She's like, stop. It's not our business, it's their business. What they do isn't up to us, knowing that if her husband goes digging around in there, their family, you know, could lose their livelihood, the kids could lose their school places, stuff like that. Also, there's another woman in the village who sort of mentions to him just offhand, like, oh, I've heard you went up to the convent, sort of had a run-in with herself, you know, and she sort of warns him, like, they've got a hand in every pot, you know, and they're all one. You think you're just dealing with one nun, but that nun is connected to another nun, who's connected to a priest, who's connected to so-and-so, who runs everything, and you need to be careful. And she's sort of just warning him, you know, to stay out of it, basically. Like, she thought he didn't understand, you know? And the only way you get things like this, like horrendous treatment of people in front of your own eyes, you know, in front of the community's eyes for nearly 100 years, is if the community just allows it to happen and then feels shit about themselves. They're sort of holding that on themselves as well. Like, they can't do anything about it, they're not doing anything about it, and just feeling the guilt of that. And like, no spoilers, I promise I won't give away the ending or anything, but I think the author is sort of not just painting a scene of what happened, but also giving us like a suggested ending that isn't hideous, you know, sort of saying to the people of this community, like, what if it didn't happen this way? You know, what if someone did something? What if we didn't just all look down at our feet and sort of shush each other? What if we just helped in some little way? What if we, you know, broke free and actually did it? Anyway, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was beautifully written and like really interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna read more of her stuff, I think. Okay, tomorrow's book, like no more books today, I promise. Tomorrow's book is Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wabisha Grace. I actually got this as a present from Karen at Roving Reader. She came to sort of visit and she gave me this. She also gave my husband a book and he read it and he said it was really good. Like, I have to sort of look into that actually and let Kevin know. But this is apparently, so it is Anishinaabe, okay, tale about Anishinaabe community, I think, like at the end of the world, at the end of society, like society crumbles. It's a bit post-apocalyptic, I think. And I've also been told that there is a much awaited sequel coming out in October, November, something like that. So that's perfect. I will read it, fall in love with it like everyone else has, and then eagerly anticipate the coming of the sequel next month or the month after. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Thank you. If you have any questions, comments, anything, please let me know. I'm loving hearing about the books you're reading for Shorty September. Loving it. I keep adding them to my list. It's become ridiculous. Please keep doing that. Also, you know, how's things? How's your weather? Talk to me. Okay, see you tomorrow.